Alright, let's start with the real question here. How the hell do you even stop Ichigo when every new transformation makes him even more ridiculously overpowered? And now, after gaining the true powers of his Zanpakuto, he's basically unstoppable. Well, today we'll explain as well as rank every transformation Ichigo Kurosaki has, from weakest to strongest. Starting from his base human form. You see, Ichigo's human form was, as the name implies, his most basic state. This was before he had Shinigami powers or was aware of his Quincy ancestry. However, he was far from being weak or normal as one might expect of a human. Ichigo frequently got into crazy fights and did odd jobs for dead spirits he could see. Born to a human Quincy and a former Soul Reaper squad captain, it goes without saying that Ichigo in his base human form packs a serious punch. He possesses way more strength, speed, and reflexes than the average human. But this form is not as strong as his base Shinigami form. You see, Ichigo became a Shinigami after Rukia stabbed him and transferred some of Uriyatsu into his body. As a result, he gained a Zanpakuto and began his life as a substitute Shinigami. Initially, his sword is abnormally large and rough, reflecting his immense but uncontrolled spiritual energy. In this form, Ichigo is significantly stronger and faster than an average human. Armed with this prime version of Zangetsu, Ichigo Kurosaki casually cuts down a hollow that is about to kill his sisters. He later battles and defeats Madarame Ikkaku and Renji Abarai, both formidable opponents in their own right. Ichigo's greatest accomplishment using his basic Shikai is defeating Captain Zaraki Kenpachi without his eye patch limiter. Unfortunately, at this point, he's no match for stronger captains like Aizen and Byakuya. But the transformation that is even better than this is when you click the red subscribe button and transform it to gray, as it will motivate me to make more such entertaining videos for you in the best way possible. So go on, click that subscribe button. Alright, so this next form of Ichigo, the Fullbring form, isn't the strongest, but it's definitely stronger than his base Shinigami form. You see, upon losing all of his powers after unleashing the Mugetsu against Aizen, Ichigo struggled to adjust to life as a normal human. Desperate to regain his powers, he discovers a new ability that only humans supposedly possess. He undergoes a rigorous training regimen under Kugo Ginjo, consequently giving rise to his new transformation, the Fullbring form. This mysterious ability was connected to his mother's survival of a hollow attack, giving him a unique bond with Fullbring energy. Ichigo is quite pleased with his new development, as he had never expected to have any kind of powers again. In this form, he's wrapped in a bony armor from head to toe, and acquires a short-bladed sword with a glimmering edge. Fullbring Ichigo can generate swirling blasts of Ryatsu comparable to the Getsuga Tensho in terms of aesthetic, if not in strength. Luckily for him, Ginjo steals Ichigo's Fullbring form, allowing Rukia to inject him with Shinigami powers once again. Ichigo's Fullbring is actually one of his weakest abilities, as shown when he releases his Zanpakuto once again. Okay, so this next form of Ichigo is the most iconic form of his, which gives him a massive power upgrade from his base Shinigami form, and that is his Bankai form. You see, in his base Shinigami form, Ichigo was no match for some of the strongest captains such as Byakuya, and to save Rukia from execution, he needed a power-up. So, Urahara formulates a special technique to speed up Ichigo's Bankai training, claiming that he will be able to achieve it in just 3 days. Well as it may sound, but Ichigo literally manages to exceed all expectations here by achieving his Bankai Tensa Zangetsu in just 2.5 days, under the observation and guidance of Yoruichi. And just so you know, this isn't a small feat. Mastering a Bankai typically takes a decade to achieve, and even longer to fully master. Tensa Zangetsu is first revealed when Ichigo fights Byakuya atop Sokyoku Hill. Here, Ichigo's gigantic Shikai has now been condensed into a small and lean black-hued blade, and his Shinigami robes are replaced with a black and red Shihakusho. Byakuya mocks the pathetic size of Ichigo's Bankai, but my boy Ichigo shatters the captain's arrogance by dispersing all of Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi's 100 million petals within seconds. However, Byakuya wasn't a low-level player in this fight, as we've seen how even Tensa Zangetsu couldn't overwhelm his Senkai technique, which led to Ichigo's most terrifying transformations, Hollowified Ichigo. In the same intense duel with Byakuya, just as defeat seemed inevitable, Ichigo's inner hollow surged to the surface. Refusing to let him die, this dark force took control, marked by the chilling appearance of the hollow mask on Ichigo's face. In this form, Ichigo had no control over his body and actions, and was basically a passenger in his own body. Hollowified Ichigo effortlessly countered the full might of Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi, and even landed a brutal slash across Byakuya's chest, while laughing in exhilaration. But before the Hollowified Ichigo kills Byakuya, Ichigo's true consciousness regains his control. If it hadn't been for that brief moment of clarity, Byakuya would have been killed on the spot. But this was just the beginning of the darkness lurking within him. Later on, during his intense training with the Vizards, Ichigo faced a far more more dangerous version of this power known as Full Hollow Ichigo. While training to take control of his inner hollow, Ichigo was temporarily overwhelmed, causing him to undergo a full hollow transformation. This is Ichigo's most monstrous form, as it bears the closest resemblance to a hollow. He is covered in completely white skin with a vicious, animalistic appearance, and a hollow mask covering an even more significant portion of his face. While in this form, he can fire off powerful energy blasts from his fingertips and fight against different visors over long periods. It's a level of hollow power far beyond what he had experienced in the fight with Byakuya. While Ichigo didn't master his hollow powers in the sense of fully controlling them yet, he did learn how to harness a portion of that power without losing himself entirely. This is when he began to use his hollow mask during fights, allowing him to tap into the incredible strength and speed of his hollow side, while retaining his Shinigami consciousness. However, this balance was always fragile, and he had to constantly push himself to maintain control. But nonetheless, this form of Ichigo is extremely strong, as it's mostly used to support his Bankai form, and possesses extreme power, which even his Shikai cannot contain. Using this form, he was finally able to match the powerful Urankar Grimmjow after a humiliating first encounter, and during their final battle, he was even able to defeat him. The next form we have is Ichigo's Dangai form. You see, after Aizen defeated multiple of Ichigo's companions, Ichigo's father advised his son to flee to the Dangai, dimension that stands between the Soul Society and the human world. While in the Dangai, the flow of time is much different from the flow of time in the real world. So, using Aizen's elimination of Kutotsu to his advantage, Ichigo trained relentlessly in that space for almost 3 months. Due to the density of time within the Dangai, Ichigo returned to the human world only an hour after departing from the Soul Society. He appeared with longer hair, a slightly taller stature, and a seemingly stronger connection with his Bankai. Shortly after arriving, he was able to overpower Aizen immediately, carrying him over a considerable distance, stopping his Zanpakuto with his bare hands, all while exerting little to no effort. But this form is nothing in front of Ichigo's next form, the Vasto Lorde transformation. You see, Ichigo's Vasto Lorde form is one of the most intense transformations in Bleach, showcasing the raw power hidden within him. During the fake Karakura Town arc, Ichigo faces the formidable Espada Ukiura. Initially, Ichigo struggles against Ukiura's overwhelming strength, and after suffering a fatal blow to his chest thanks to Ukiura's Cero Oscuras, it seemed like all hope was lost. But then, driven by the desperate cries of Orihime, Ichigo awakens in a form that is a true embodiment of his hollow side. In this Vasto Lorde state, Ichigo becomes almost unrecognizable. He possesses immense speed and strength, easily outmaneuvering Ukiura and landing powerful strikes that devastate his opponent. It's fascinating to note that this is the only fight that Zangetsu has where he neither laughs nor talks, even though he shows that he can. Instead, he remains silent and focused, showcasing a level of seriousness and fury we've never seen before. In my opinion, this fight shows that Zangetsu cared more for Ichigo than we ever saw before, because of his desire to utterly destroy all that Ukiura was. In his other fights, he liked to win somewhat quickly, stylishly, and with lots of gloating. This battle was all about revenge for him and Ichigo, where he destroyed Ukiura in the most humiliating way possible. He plays mind games by mocking Espada's previous tactics and demonstrating his control over the fight. For instance, he effortlessly catches Ukiura's Lanza del Rampago, an attack so potent it rivals a nuclear explosion, bare-handed, solidifying his dominance. The battle culminates in a spectacular display of power, as Ichigo unleashes a Cero that obliterates Las Noches' ceiling. This overwhelming attack leaves Ukiura unable to regenerate, effectively sealing his fate. What's remarkable about this transformation is its rarity, as Ichigo wasn't able to access the Vasto Lorde form again, making this fight with Ukiura the only moment we've ever witnessed this form. But I guess this fight alone is more than enough for us fans to understand just how strong this form really is. And now we have Ichigo's final Getsuga Tensho form, also known as Mugetsu. After spending 3 intense months in the Dangai dimension, Ichigo achieves a perfect union with Zangetsu, discovering the ultimate technique capable of defeating Hogyoku-empowered Aizen. In this battle against Aizen, who was morphed into a formidable hollow form, Ichigo unleashes the final Getsuga Tensho. His hair turns pitch black and flows dramatically, and his torso and jaw are wrapped in gray cloth. Surrounded by a dark Reiatsu, Ichigo transforms into a force to be reckoned with. The Mugetsu is so powerful that it paints the sky black as he attacks Aizen with overwhelming force. While the attack does severely weaken Aizen, the villain survives the onslaught. However, Uraharu's secret Kido activates, sealing Aizen and ensuring his defeat. Well, it's crucial to note that the final Getsuga Tensho comes at a steep cost, which is that upon using this form, form, the user will lose all his Shinigami abilities, marking it as a bittersweet victory. Well, if you think that's Ichigo's strongest form till now, take a listen to this. When Oswald slices Ichigo's Bankai in half and forces him to reevaluate his strength, Ichigo travels to the Royal Realm, where he meets the Sword Master Oetsu Nimaya. Nimaya plays a crucial role in helping Ichigo understand his powers more deeply. Here, Ichigo learns to communicate with Zangetsu, his Zanpakuto. This experience opens his eyes to the reality of his powers. Previously, Ichigo viewed his Quincy and Hollow aspects as burdens or unwanted side effects. However, he realizes that these aspects are essential parts of who he is. This newfound understanding is crucial for his growth as a warrior. Nimaya then forges two new Zanpakuto for Ichigo. One sword is short and solid, while the other is longer and hollow, gaining him his new Shikai form. This dual blade setup symbolizes the balance of Ichigo's powers and allows him to access new techniques, the most notable being the Getsuga Jujisho. Unlike his iconic Getsuga Tensho, which uses a single blade, this new ability lets him unleash attacks from both swords simultaneously, making his offense much more powerful and versatile. After discovering that the hollow inside him is his true Zanpakuto rather than the previous Zangetsu who had been suppressing that side, Ichigo's perspective changes. This revelation helps him embrace his full potential, leading to a significant power boost. It was revealed that the power Ichigo had till now was just a mere fraction of his true power, and now with his true Shikai, Ichigo becomes much stronger and can stand his ground against formidable foes like Yhwach and his subordinates. This transformation represents not just a physical change, but also an emotional and mental one. Ichigo's acceptance of his complex identity enables him to wield his powers much more effectively and confidently. And finally, we have the most overpowered form of Ichigo, his true Bankai form. You see, Ichigo Kurosaki's true Bankai, known as the Horn of Salvation, is one of his most formidable forms, attained during his battle against Yhwach in the 1000-Year Blood War arc. This transformation signifies a perfect fusion of Ichigo's various powers, Shinigami, Hollow, Quincy, and Fullbring, resulting in an immense boost of strength and speed. When Ichigo enters his true Bankai form, his appearance also undergoes a dramatic change, where we can see his horn in his head, one of his eyes glow yellow, and two black stripes run down his face. In this powerful state, Ichigo gains access to a new attack, an arrow-shaped Getsuga Tensho, which amplifies his offensive capabilities significantly. During Ichigo's final battle against Yhwach, Ichigo was overwhelmed by Yhwach's The Almighty ability that allowed him to alter the events of the future however he pleased. In addition, Yhwach had also displayed his own ability to dual wield, putting Ichigo at a greater disadvantage. As a result, he merged his two blades together and called forth his true Bankai. By merging his two blades, Ichigo essentially makes the larger one into a scabbard and the shorter one representing the blade, both of which are essential parts of a Shinigami Zanpakuto. This form was so powerful that Yhwach recognized it as a genuine threat. This is also why he uses the Almighty to destroy the true Tensa Zangetsu, which is thankfully restored by Orihime and Tsukishima, which serves its purpose in Ichigo's final strike on Yhwach, ultimately killing the series' final antagonist. Click on this video next, where we have mentioned 32 facts about the Bleach series that even longtime fans don't know about. Go on, check it out.